Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Welcome all of you brothers and sisters in the 13th episodes of Story of Karbala and the final episode of this series. We left the family of Imam Hussain in the prison of Ibn Ziyad. They stayed until the order of Yazid will come from Damascus. On the 13th day of Moharram, which is 3 days after the battle happened and after the killing of Imam Hussain, Imam Zain al-Abidin disappeared from the prison. He went to try to bury his father and his family and the Ansar. When he arrived there, that was the situation. There was a branch of a big tribe called Bani Asad came camping in that area. Usually the ladies will take the jars to fill it with water and bring it back to the camp. When the ladies went to try to fill the jars from the river, they found the remnant of the battle and they found big body lying near the river, and they were frightened and went back immediately to the camp and told their men. The men, they says probably they are Al-Hussein ibn Ali, peace be upon them, and his family and the opponent. But let's go and find out. They went and they explored the area. They found the body of Abbas, they found the other bodies. Of course, as we say, the soldiers of Ibn Ziyad army were all buried. Now these bodies have been left on the sand for 3 days. Nobody came to bury them. And then they start looking. All the bodies were without any heads. They did not know who's this body, who's that. But they recognized Imam Hussein's body from the signs around it, from the light shining from the body of Imam Hussain. And then they were standing, they could not know what to do. They were having somebody standing outside the area to tell them if anything comes from Ibn Ziyad army, to warn them so they can run away. While they were in this situation, Imam Zain al-Abidin arrived on a camel. When he arrived, they were surprised, and he asked them, "What are you doing and who are you?" They says, "We are members of Bani Asad, this tribe." And he says, "What you are doing?" They says, "We came to see these bodies and to see the battle." And Imam Zain al-Abidin, he says and replied, "Tell me the truth." They told him first, "Who are you?" He said, "I am Ali ibn al-Hussein." And they start crying. They told him, "We came to try to bury these bodies, but we do not know which body for whom, and we did not know what to do. And since you came in," they were showing him their grief and sadness about the killing of his father and family. Then Imam Zain al-Abidin guided them, and he pointed to them with his stick where to dig, and he asked them to dig for a grave in one place, and a bigger one in another place, and much bigger one on the other side. And he started showing them which body. He buried Habib ibn Mudahar al-Asadi in one grave. Then the members of the families of Imam Hussain in one bigger grave. Then the biggest grave was for the Ansar, and he was telling them how to do. And then he put Ali, the eldest, in one grave, and just toward his head, or the head of the body, he asked them to dig a grave, and then he tried to get his father's body. They told him, "We'll help you." He says, "No, I have somebody to help me. But then he tried first to collect the pieces of the body. They saw him looking to collect some pieces, and then he went far a little bit and searching on the ground, and then he picked up something. When he came, they found out it was the part and piece of the liver that came out with that arrow with the 3 heads. And then he went again and looking, and he came and brought the little finger of the right hand of Imam Hussain. And then after he collected all the pieces, he tried to carry up the body. When he tried to carry up the body fall into pieces. He could not carry it. So he asked them for something that he can put the body in. They brought him barrier, something that he can put on the ground, collected the piece of Imam Hussain, which was due to the effect of the war and after the running of the horses, put it all together, and he carried it on his chest and put it in the grave. After that, he looked around, and then he put Ali al-Akbar in his grave toward the legs of his father. Then after he did this, he heard the voice from the chest of Imam Hussain telling him, "My son, put my infant on my chest." So he went and brought his brother Abdullah, the infant, and put it just beside the chest of his father. Of course, there were no heads for any of the bodies. And then he buried the bodies. He lied down beside his father's body, and he was crying, telling him, "I will be crying all my life until I go to meet you in the other life." And then he asked them to put the sand and bury all the bodies. And then he write on the grave of Imam Hussain, "This is the grave of Hussain ibn Ali, the one who killed in Karbala." And they asked him, now if people ask us, which one, which body, which grave, he told them about the name of the people, their graves, and told them about everything. And then he turned around to them, told them, "Is there anybody left?" Of course he knows. How come he forget his uncle? They told him, "There is a great body near the river." He says, "Let's go to it." And then he went there. When he saw the body of his uncle Abbas, he started crying. And then he asked them to also dig another grave near the river. And then he went on, and they found him that he went and searching. And then he came with something in his hand. They found out it was the right hand of his uncle Abbas. Then again went and going and searching in the other areas, and brought something else, and it was the left hand of Abbas. After he put the hands together with the body, he tried to carry the body. Of course, Imam Zain al-Abidin was still sick, and they provide the help, and he told them no. It was only Imam Hussain and Abbas that he refused the help, and he did it himself. He carried Imam Abbas' body and put it in his grave, and also buried it, and wrote on the grave, "This is the grave of Abbas ibn Ali." After all of this, Imam Zain al-Abidin told Bani Asad, "These are the graves, you know all of them, tell the people about it." And they told him, "Now where you are leaving?" He says, "I'm going back to my auntie Zainab and my sisters and my family in the prison of Ibn Ziyad." How Imam Zain al-Abidin left the prison. People might think this cannot be, and this is magic. This is not magic. This is the Imam whose everything will obey him in the order and by the name of the Lord, by the name of Allah, who ask anything to obey him. And this is the way he went out and came back. When he went back to the prison, his auntie Zainab was so much worried about him. She missed him. And when he came back, she asked him, "My nephew, where you have been? I was so much worried about you." He told her, "Auntie, I just came back from burying my father's body." And she started crying into tears. "You are telling me that your father's body stayed on the sand under the sun for 3 days. Nobody buried him?" He told her yes. And Zainab was so much into tears that she knows her brother and her families, and even her son was also within the family of the Prophet that has been killed. His name was Owen, but she was not looking as a mother to her son. She was looking as a Muslim to her Imam. And that's why she was so much sad and so much into tears that she knew that her brother, the Imam, was left uncovered under the sun, on the sand, on that hot weather for 3 days unburied, which is against all the laws of the humans, all the laws of the Muslims. Yet these evil people did it to him. After the coming back of Imam Zain al-Abidin to the family and burying of the family bodies, then another thing happened to them, that they moved toward the Asham after the order of Ibn Ziyad. This is the first part of the story of Karbala. The second part was their tortures. The torturing happened to them in Damascus in front of Yazid, how he did. Zainab has bad situation. One of the situation when she first came into Ibn Ziyad hall and in front of him, she found him that he put Imam Hussain head in front of him in a dish of gold and using a small stick to hit his mouth. And he was saying he was having a very nice lips. Is this how to treat a Muslim? Is this how to treat the people? That you kill them and you do this thing to them, that you hit the lips of the Imam with your stick? When Zayd ibn Arqam, who saw the Prophet and told him that I heard and saw the Prophet put Imam Hassan on his right leg and thigh, and then Imam Hussain the left one, and he start kissing one time this Imam Hassan, the second time Imam Hussain, and he put his hand on their heads and he says, "They are my children," and ask all the Muslims to love them. Is this how you treated the beloved person of the Prophet? And he told him, "You are old man, you didn't know what to do. I would kill you if you are not like this." And he kicked him out of his palace. This is how the things ended up toward this situation. This is what happened to the people, to the nation, that the governor will order and they will kill Imam Hussain and kill his family, the family of the Prophet, and yet nobody will say anything about that. Moreover, Ibn Ziyad stand up in the mosque and start giving a speech that the Khariji, the one who was disobeying Yazid, was killed, who was Hussein. He and start saying bad words about Imam Hussain and his father Imam Ali. Then a man called Ibn Afif al-Azdi, who was blind, he stand up and he says, "Who's saying this about Imam Hussain and Imam Ali?" The one who's bad is you and your father, and Yazid and his father. And then they start fighting, and then he ordered his soldiers to bring him, so he will kill him. His tribe took him away, but then he sent an army after him. They brought him, and he killed him. So this was the end of anybody trying to say any more. This was the freedom that the Yazid was giving to the nation, that anybody saying anything against him, he will kill him. So you can see the fear and the terror that the nation and the people was living in. It was Imam Hussain. Blood was the thing liberate them from this fear. After that, people start thinking, what the worst thing happened to us? We'll die. We will do like Imam Hussain, and we'll go through this. And this is what happened later on, when one revolution after the other came, until the country of Bani Umayyah fall down. By the end of the Yazid, that branch of Bani Umayyah, their ruling party finished within 3 years from death of Imam Hussain. This is the end, and this is the victory Imam Hussain had over Yazid, which was shortly after his death. And not this only. Now, can you hear anything about Yazid? Nothing. Can you hear anything about Imam Hussain? Yes. Not only in Karbala, but all over the place. Especially in the 10th of Moharram of every year. All over the place. Every Muslim will celebrate the 10th of Muharram, and he will remember the story of Karbala and what happened that day, and to be the light, to light his future and go after it. This is the light at the end of the tunnel, that we should remember what happened on that day and should guide us to do the same thing if the same situation happened again to all of us. See you then. Salam to all of you, dear brothers and sisters, and see you again.